The NSA just called me. We have a problem in East Timor.
What kind of problem?
A big one.
Hello there, Seraph17 once again. This is my Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 3. It is the Hesperia Railways in Paris, from Paris to Nice. Which is one of those words where you've got to like look at it and think, that really is a language difference, isn't it, right there? We have that word in the English language, we do not say it like that, yet the French have it, it looks the same, and it's said completely different. If that is not the purest essence of what language is and the difference in it, I don't know what is. And as baffling as it is, I kind of think it's cool to have that pronounced Nice, as opposed to like we do. But anyhow, that stuff aside, this is Sam Fishery at its finest. This is more Pandora Tomorrow. I have been extremely teasy with this project because I know there's quite a few people that would really like to see it a lot swifter than they are. But there is method to the madness, guys, and it makes each episode that little bit more delicious. And at this moment in time, I have a couple of really long-going series is happening, and it's at that point where it starts to get a little bit calloused and tired, and I don't want this Splinter Cell one to have those same issues, so that's why I'm being a little bit more reserved with this, and I'm sharing it at my leisure when I'm waiting for people to really, really want it and almost get annoyed at me, and then I'm giving them what they want, kind of like the lovable rogue, the Machiavellian drug dealer. But this is a very short level for a Splinter Cell. It's also a really cool one. I always liked this mission because it reminds me of Under Siege 2. And I'll never forget Under Siege 2 because when I rented it from Blockbusters, when I got back to my grandparents' houses, we'd been burgled. And they nicked the VCR that I was going to watch Under Siege 2 on, the motherfuckers. But not only is it a pretty shitty film, and a shitty Seagal film, but it was nowhere near as good as the first one, but I kind of just like trains. I don't know why. I am definitely no ferroequinologist, but I am somebody who appreciates a good train film. And there's just something about... I love a film that uses its environments. On this sequence here, there are civilians on this train. I don't know how much trouble they'll give you, but as you can see, they have terrible periphery vision, and because we've got this giant green light on our back, everybody seems to think we're kind of like a nightlight, as opposed to a crazy spy dude who's just sneaking through a foreign train. But I love films that use an environment, a single environment, and they use it well. You know, I was a big fan of the original Saw because I think the bathroom set was as basic as it got, but they used it beautifully. And things like Die Hard. Die Hard to me is one of those films that it completely embodies where it is. Like, Die Hard is Nakatomi Plaza. You take it out of Nakatomi Plaza, and it isn't as good. You know, Die Hard 2 was great, Die Hard 3 was much better, Die Hard 4 was interesting, Die Hard 5, what the fuck, please don't ever make me watch that shit again. But you take the building away, and it doesn't have the feeling of what it was, and that's what I really liked about that particular film, and that's one of the things I really like about Under Siege 2. You know, it's not a great movie by any respect, but it's completely passable, and I think the train is the best part about it, because the moving between carriages, doing really strange stuff like taking panels off that look like they would be much more difficult to remove, and going under a train, which something that only really happens in Hollywood, because if you've ever looked under a train, it just doesn't look like that shit'll fly. But this is Splinter Cell, and we're currently sneaking through the train to get to this dude's door. So I use the optic camera here, just to use it more than anything, because I'd never really messed with it in the previous guide, and it's something I used to do a lot, but in this one, I used it just then to confirm that this guy was in here, and then when you move in here, it triggers this conversation with Soth, who is a very interesting character in this one.
Who's your runner?
And this looks like it's one of the dialogues I've actually left in. For the most, you're going to see me crossfade these dialogues, because they're great when you're listening to them. It's just, when it's a walkthrough, I don't really need to guide you through people talking. But once again, that brings us to the philosophical... That is a word I struggle with. Philosophical? I think that's a better way of saying it. Whenever I say it in any other cadence, it just throws off the whole rhythm of the word. But the philosophy of making walkthroughs is one that is something I would definitely contest towards, you know, a more objective view on it. This is how walkthrough should be, or this is what a walkthrough is, as opposed to this. But of course, it's one of those things where everybody's opinion is slightly different. I personally don't think that you need dialogue in a walkthrough, but there are many that do. So, are they wrong? Am I right? Not necessarily. It's just two differing perspectives. But this part here, you'll notice you've got a time limit. It's very generous compared to the first game. Something to be aware of: when Soth leaves the room and has that phone conversation, if you go towards the door or you open the door, it's instant fail. If he's close to the door when you open it, he'll hear it and it's instant fail. A lot of instant fails on this particular section. But follow him into the drinks cart and then listen to him on this directional microphone. I wasn't too sure where to go on this next sequence, so you're going to notice that I go back on myself. I double back. And you don't have to do this, guys. You can literally wait for him to pass you in this corner and then go straight for that door that's past these two goons. However, I wasn't 100% sure on the direction I was meant to be moving, so I followed Soth. And what's going to happen is, I'm going to take you back into another room, we're going to wait for the guy to pass, and then we're going to come back into this room. And it looks like it's an intentional strategy, but it's actually a bunch of clips that have been trimmed away, and some, I wouldn't say clever editing, but some efficient editing to make it look better, because it would have been a much longer video, and completely unnecessary, and not worth the hassle. But once again, another piece of dialogue that I've kept in, which I normally would not do, but this is a shorter video, and the Splinter Cell ones are known for being quite long. And a lot of people like the self-contained videos. I myself are one as well, and I appreciate why people like that format. It's so that you don't have to keep fucking about with it. Like, I watch videos in playlists, and how many times does it go to the next video, and then YouTube does that weird video player fail, where it just goes that blank screen and it says something errored, and then you have to refresh it, and then sometimes when it does that error, it'll kind of freeze on the picture, and then it skips through 5 or 6 parts of the playlist, and if you're doing something while this is happening, it'll go from part 1 to part 7, and you don't realise sometimes, because some people don't give you any kind of vocal indicator that whereabouts in the playlist they are, because they just kind of continue. Whereas if you've got one of my videos, as annoying as it might be if you've been with me for, 4 years, I tell you at the beginning what the video is, so hopefully immediately you'll click, hang on a second, that's not where I'm supposed to be, but sneak past this guy. You want to be as careful as you can here, but as soon as you get through this door, you're going to have to be kind of quick. Because I had an instance where this is a mandatory alert phase, but if you continue to be slow, they will not be onto you. But when you get into this part, I got shot when I was climbing this ladder, and I couldn't honestly tell you why. I assume it's from these guys chasing me there. But when you get on top of here, you're going to be shot at by a helicopter. The helicopter can do damage to you. It's not massively it just did damage to me then. Like, if I'd have been on the ball and I started moving earlier, I wouldn't have taken any hits there. But as you can see, it's more for dramatic effect than for actual gameplay purposes. But as soon as you hit the rope, that's the end of Hesperia. And one of the more interesting levels in the game, but a very, very short and succinct one. So thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.